is the Weather Channel. Weather you can always turn to for accurate, dependable weather forecasts 24 hours a day.
Potentially the most significant severe outbreak of the season.
Severe weather stakes its claim on the central U.S. An update on where it will hit next coming up.
Rebuilding and relearning go hand in hand for hurricane victims in Florida. Part 1 of Lessons from Andrew explains next. Tonight, severe weather is sweeping through the central United States. I'm Terri Smith.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Morrow. There have been several reports of tornadoes in South Dakota and the potential for more in neighboring states. The Severe Storms Forecast Center in Kansas City has several severe weather watches out, starting with this severe thunderstorm watch out until 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time for parts of northern Illinois, including the Chicago area and on over into northern Indiana. And there have been reports of as much as 3 to 4, maybe even 5 inches of rain in and around Chicago. This tornado watch out, including the Des Moines area from Iowa on up into southern areas of Minnesota, and then another tornado watch out until 11 local time. This does include the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul and on up towards St. Cloud in Minnesota. Then farther west in northeast South Dakota, this tornado watch out until 8 p.m. local time. And as we head farther onto the south, a very long watch area all the way from southeast South Dakota into western Iowa and right on down past the Topeka, Kansas vicinity and on into central Oklahoma. That's out until 8. And we head a little bit farther east, including the Kansas City metropolitan area and on over into Missouri. That's out until midnight. Another tornado watch on down into Texas. That's generally west of Dallas. And then as we head on up into east central Oklahoma, this tornado watch out until 10 p.m. local time. So a whole series of severe weather watches out, most of them tornadic. Joining us now in the Weather Channel Forecast Center is senior meteorologist Stu Ostro. And Stu's going to have a look at what conditions are coming together for this particular severe weather outbreak.
Well, that's right, Jeff. During the course of the weekend, we've been tracking a storm system coming in from the Pacific, coming across California and on through the southwestern United States. Now it's hitting and crashing into all the summery, warm, humid air coming up from the Gulf of Mexico into the central U.S., and as a result, we're having a tremendous amount of severe weather tonight.
Stu, is there any particular reason? We've seen a lot of tornadoes in the eastern parts of South Dakota. Is there any particular reason that we're seeing them in that part of the country?
Well, Jeff, everything's coming together right in here. We have the core of the upper level energy coming into here, dry air aloft as well as the strong winds. And here's another way of looking at it. We see the system coming in from the west, hitting the warm, humid air, moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, dry air coming in aloft and at the surface, very strong upper level winds, and everything is coming together right in here. Good turning of the wind with height that helps to spin up the tornadoes as well. And we've had many reports of tornadoes across eastern South Dakota, now moving into southwestern Minnesota.
Senior meteorologist Stu Ostro, he'll be with us throughout the evening to give us updates on the severe weather. Right now, let's see exactly where the thunderstorms are with Terri Smith.
All right, Jeff, let's to take use of his video home camera and capture these funnel clouds that you're seeing here. These funnel clouds are looming in the sky, and this was before the tornado touched down. It was on the ground, the tornado was on the ground for about 5 minutes. There were reports of at least one tornado, actually 2 tornadoes, that touched down in southern Dade County earlier this afternoon. But since then, things have settled down quite a bit. Well, Hurricane Andrew devastated large parts of southern Florida and Louisiana. However, important lessons can be learned from any disaster. Jim Cantore reports on the most important lesson learned in part 1 of Lessons from Andrew.
10 months ago, Hurricane Andrew ripped through parts of southern Florida. The storm devastated large areas of Dade County. By storm's end, 59 people were dead. Damage was estimated at over $20 billion, and thousands of people were left homeless. Today, the landscape is still visibly scarred. 180,000 housing units were damaged or destroyed. Damage covers a 30 by 50 mile area. In the aftermath, experts and residents were amazed at how much of the destruction occurred inland away from the coastline.
We have to be very aware that winds in a Category 4 or 5 hurricane can do enormous damage. Over the last several years, we've been getting people pretty well convinced on the coastline that they need to evacuate, but I don't think we've been able to get the message across to people that they really need to batten down their house if they're going to have a major hurricane.
Andrew was an important test for local emergency management. For the first time in many years, a hurricane affected a heavily populated area.
The biggest lesson learned for this community is how much every individual person needs to have their own plan. Every person, every family, every organization. That personal hurricane planning is absolutely essential so they know where they're going to go, what they're going to take.
65% of homes in Homestead were damaged or destroyed. Residents, after living through Andrew, still had another lesson to learn: the nightmare of bureaucracy and red tape.
Somehow we need to find a way to streamline that process, because the average person can't deal with it. You know, when you're faced with the frustration of building your home, trying to get your lives back together, dealing with the kids, all that, and then on top of that, you've got to go and deal with a federal bureaucracy. It almost gets to the point where some people just walked away.
Many people did just that, but as we shall see tomorrow, many stayed to take on the task of rebuilding their community. I'm Jim Cantore, the Weather Channel.
Rebuilding in South Florida is still an ongoing process, and there have also been many problems along the way. Tomorrow night, we look at some of the specifics in part 2 of Lessons from Andrew. And in the meantime, we'll continue to keep you